Wednesday. Welcome to the Colby Daniels podcast presented by Artisan Botanicals in Midwest City. Check out their line of natural medicine products, including Kratom, CBD, and Delta 8. When you order online, abotanicalcompany.com, use the discount code ColbyShow, COLBYSHOW. Discount code ColbyShow to save 15% off your online order. Again, abotanicalcompany.com. They have a drive-through, so it's easy, safe, and efficient pickup. But again, check out the website. Order online, discount code ColbyShow for 15% off at abotanicalcompany.com. All right, our weekly Wednesday guest is Aaron Davis. We're talking Final Four. We're talking college basketball. Tomorrow is opening day of Major League Baseball, so we'll hit that a little bit. We'll hit the build-up to the NFL draft as pro days continue to move along and just all the changing opinions in the draft world continuously. So a lot to talk about, a lot of fun with my weekly Wednesday guest, Aaron Davis. Happy Wednesday, Aaron Davis, our weekly Wednesday guest. Aaron, what's happening?
Not much, just enjoying this nice hump day in the middle of the week. Looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day I know it's a big day for you and me, but it's a big day in sports. And then we've got the Final Four. I'm assuming they're going to play on Saturday. Is that the plan?
Yes.
I know that's what they usually do, but they play an Elite Eight game on a Tuesday,
right.
So I wouldn't put it past them to play like on Thursday of next week.
Yeah, I guess we've reached the point where they've decided that we can get back on the normal schedule. So the two Final Four games are on Saturday, and then I guess we're back to a Monday night national championship game with, God willing, Gonzaga and Baylor. That was my bracket selection. Those were by far the best two teams that I saw play college basketball this season. I think it would be a heck of a game, but yeah, we're almost there.
How many? I also had Baylor and Gonzaga. I think you probably had Gonzaga winning. I had Baylor winning. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. But how many brackets, realistically, do you think there were 500 brackets made in the entire country that did not have Gonzaga in the Final Four?
I mean, you're just overthinking it if you decided to go that route, right? I mean, you just wanted to be different if you decided to go that route.
I did not see a single one. Obviously, I've seen like 0.00001% of the brackets made, but still, usually there's like some differences, but everyone had Gonzaga in the Final Four and most likely the national championship. And then, they run into Baylor in most situations or whatever, be Illinois. And, some people might feel like they get upset, but yeah, Gonzaga's they're just so much better than every other team. It's insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that their best player isn't even, their best player necessarily in that offense.
Yeah, they can. The cool thing about them, a lot like Baylor, is it can be a different guy on any night that beats you. I mean, they're so diverse in how they can play on any given night. One night it might be Timmy, one night it might be Kispert, one night it might be Suggs. And the other thing is they just get contributions, and whoever, is having that kind of night, everybody else just kind of falls into a supporting cast role around them. That's I think the thing about Gonzaga that's so fun to watch is there's not like one way to go about it, and everybody is so flexible in the way that they play that you don't have somebody, on a given night that's just forcing the issue if they don't have it going. So yeah, they're a really, really fun team to watch.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Timmy wasn't the most outstanding player of the tournament, though. He's just been unreal every game.
He's awesome.
Yeah, it's like other schools don't even practice playing in the post when they play Timmy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So just riding out this hump day until I get into back into sports. I know there's NBA, but it's too close to opening day for me to care about the NBA today.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Look, I'll be honest with you. I have some far greater concerns at this very moment in time than even opening day, for that matter, because yesterday I got my second COVID shot. I got Pfizer. So the first one I got the shot. No issues other than my arm was sore for about 24 hours. Just, like when you just burn out your arms bench pressing, right? Like that kind of sore feeling the next day. So that was the only issue I had. Felt fine the whole time. So I got the second shot yesterday, and I was fine all day yesterday. Never even felt the soreness in the arm, nothing. Went to bed, totally fine. I woke up this morning, and you would have thought I had been in a train wreck. My entire body, from head to toe, and I'm not exaggerating this, every single muscle is like the most sore it's ever been. Like, it is, I barely like turn my neck, and it's sore and stiff, and it's like I can't move. I feel fine. I don't have a headache. I'm not fatigued. There's no other issues. Literally every muscle in my body just feels like I burned it out working out. That sort of like just sore, stiff feeling.
No, okay. First off, we need to rule this out. Are you positive that you didn't sleepwalk and just do a full workout in the middle of the night last night?
Maybe I did. Maybe that's one of the symptoms. You work out in your sleep and you're just completely unaware of it.
That would be awesome.
That's what we need to invent, some sort of way to work out while you sleep so that you get rest and you fix your body at the same time.
Right. I hate working out. Like, I love playing sports. If you get like any like game with a score or ball or anything like that, I'm in.
Yeah.
But just like, I can't, it's hard for me to just go do push-ups. Like, I don't have the attention span for it. But yeah, if there's just some machine that that I could put myself in while I sleep for like an hour and a half, and I just get shredded.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
You can put in a coma overnight, and the machine just works your body out while you are completely oblivious to it.
Of course, then I have to actually be. The problem when I'm awake is more than not working out. It's, not eating crap, not eating a box of Oreos in one sitting.
Right.
I need a machine that'll make sure I don't eat a box of Oreos in one sitting. I don't know if they can invent that. But anyways, so they gave it to the COVID vaccine. They do it in your arm, right?
Yeah, in your arm.
Just
a little.
So it's just like a standard shot?
Just a standard shot. It's, you don't even, I didn't even feel it either time, puncture my arm. It's very fast. I literally, there was no line yesterday. So I pulled up, went up there. They were like, all right, let's punch you into the computer. They did that. That took like 30 seconds. They were like, go to station 15 or whatever it was. I sat down. They asked to make sure that I wasn't having any health issues. And I was like, no. I haven't had a heart attack in the last week. No, I haven't had, all these other things. And then they were like, all right, let's do it. And so they just give you the shot real quick. And then they ask you to wait for 15 minutes to make sure you don't have any bad reactions to it. And I was totally fine. So this was at 1:30 yesterday. Totally fine all day. No issues whatsoever. And like I said, I woke up this morning and I could barely roll out of bed.
Did you do it through the state or through one of the tribes?
The state.
Okay. I need to get it. I checked maybe it was a week and a half ago. Maybe it might have been 2 weeks, right at 2 weeks. And I wasn't eligible for the state, and I figured I don't need to get it immediately. I'm not
right.
I can wait another couple of weeks. I'm fine. I'm not, there are people that need it way more than I do. So
right.
I've just waited, but yeah, I need to get it done. I need to, whether I do it, I don't mind doing it through the tribes. I just kind of I'd have to drive a little bit further, and I just need to figure that out. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to being so sore that I can't move the next day, but I guess it's not that bad. Grand scheme of things, that's a small price to pay.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. We'll pandemic. See. Yeah. We'll see how I feel later in the day. If it's only some body soreness for the morning hours and then you move past it, then fine. It's not a big deal. If this were to persist for a lengthy amount of time, I think I would be pretty irritated over the situation. But again, the first time, literally nothing other than a sore arm, and really I didn't even feel that unless I lifted it above 90, a 90-degree angle. Unless I went lifted my arm in the air, that was the only time I really felt the soreness. So, and here's the other thing: the first dose I got, we probably had to wait in line 30 minutes to 45 minutes. The line was out the door at Mercy. This time around, there was literally nobody there. Walked in, got the shot. From the time I walked through the door to the time I got the shot, it was maybe like 3 or 4 minutes total. And then
you're talking about Mercy off the Turnpike?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like when they first started administering the vaccine, like there was cars wrapped around. There was like, it was insane. That's interesting.
So yeah, yesterday there was nobody. I went at 1:30, nobody there. So it was really quick in and out. But yeah, hopefully the soreness goes away. I'm like, ugh.
You're going to have to test it now. You got to go get somebody to cough in your face and see what happens. You got to test it. You got to see if it works.
Yeah, pass on that.
You didn't get COVID, but you did get hepatitis.
Right.
So,
right.
Didn't get COVID. COVID vaccine works.
COVID-free, baby. How was Austin? You went to Oklahoma-Texas baseball series last weekend, right?
I went and shot the game on Friday. I shot game 1 and then just kind of drove back on Saturday. But it was good. It was good. I gotta tell you, and you can make an argument that all sports fans are kind of douchebags. Like it, especially at the game when they're drinking. Like you could say Texas fans are just. No offense to Texas fans. Like my entire family are Texas fans.
Yeah.
Man, they are another level of annoying though.
Yeah, well, look, I would say every fan base has that group at any game, whether it's baseball or every fan base has that group that certainly makes it a point to stand out above the rest.
Especially in college, when you get 20-year-olds that, are probably a little too drunk or, drunk at all at a baseball game, they're going to get a little rambunctious. But I don't know, maybe I just haven't been to a sporting event in so long that I was just a little bit more sensitive to the things around me. Not like they were hurting feelings or anything, but just noticing them.
Yeah.
Because, there was only a couple hundred people there because of social distancing. So you really notice it when there's 200 people. It's almost silent in there at times.
Yeah.
And some guys just cussing at a batter for OU or, vice versa or whatever it is. Notice it a little bit more. When I'm at a football game and there's 80,000 people, I don't notice anything anybody says.
Right. Yeah. Well, and look, the same can be said for those people. They probably forgot public etiquette. It's been so long.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be so rude. I shouldn't be so mean. You're right. It was good though. I had fun. I was down there shooting for the Norman transcript. So it was a good time. I was excited to get out there and shoot some more sports. Trying to do some more of that. Trying to find something to do during football season. But
yeah,
it was a good time. Of course, the game went 11 innings, and so we can't, obviously because of social distancing and COVID and all that stuff. They don't allow anybody on the field, any media or photographers on the field or in the camera wells. So I had to shoot the entire game from the concourse in the stands.
Oh,
and
wow.
I didn't want to sit 20 rows up and get pictures like that. That's not good. I'm not going to get good results. So I squatted or sat on my knees right behind the concrete wall at the backstop. And I couldn't stand because I didn't want to block people's views. So I tried to squat down or get on my knees the whole time and shoot. Dude, 4 hours of that, my legs were killing me the next day. I'm feeling my knees right now. And I'm like, dude, are my knees indented now?
Yeah.
It was fun though. I had a good time. The Texas starting pitch, I'm not gonna remember his name, but starting pitcher for Texas was pretty good. Texas is number 10 or something like that in the nation, so they're obviously a pretty good team. I think they ended up sweeping OU over the weekend. Maybe OU won the third game, but again,
yeah,
I'll keep up for work. But yeah, man, it was just cool. It was cool to be back at a game. It was cool to be back in a press box. It just I don't know. Those were little things I took for granted when before it was just sitting in a press box.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. Yeah, I'll be interested to see the whole football scenario, because baseball obviously is it's just a completely different animal than putting 80,000 people in, one venue. So I'll be curious to see how all of that works and how people just kind of react to being back in that situation. But I'm, green light. The UFC actually is having full arenas for their next two pay-per-view cards in Florida and Houston.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they were kind of the pioneers of sports carrying on throughout the pandemic, and now they're going to be the pioneers of filling places to capacity. So we'll see how that goes.
They had their last empty arena event Saturday, right? Was it Stipe lost?
Yeah, Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title, and good Lord. Francis Ngannou is the scariest dude on planet Earth.
I didn't watch the fight. I'll be honest, I passed out at like 8:00 after driving back from Austin. But yeah, so where are you at in the camp of a third fight between McGregor and Poirier? Because I saw, I guess a few days ago that Poirier wasn't interested, but then a couple days later I saw that it was like close to happening. I did like, how are you on that? Like, where are you at on that?
So I'm a little bit torn because Khabib Nurmagomedov was the 155 champion. He has retired and vacated that title. Dustin Poirier is by far the most deserving guy to fight for that title. Or, like, if you wanted to say that, because Khabib retired last, what was it, like October? Mm-hmm. Like, I thought that Poirier-McGregor in January should have been for the title. So if you wanted to say Dustin is now the champion, like, I have no issue with that. I think when you look at his resume, he's the most deserving of anybody in that weight class. So now he's kind of at this weird crossroads where Conor is not deserving of a title shot, but fighting Conor McGregor pays you more money because he's a superstar in the sport, right? Like, no matter how good he is, he supersedes just the UFC fans. Like, people that halfway just, pay attention to the sport all know Conor McGregor and the giant star he is. His pay-per-view numbers are off the charts. So Dustin's caught in this situation where he could either fight for the 155 belt or he could take a trilogy fight with Conor, which is going to pay him significantly more money. I mean, these guys do this for a living. I think sometimes in sports, we all kind of fantasize that everybody is all about, the greatness and winning the championships and the belts and all that. But, these guys got to get paid first and foremost. And an opportunity to fight Conor McGregor and what that payday is, I think supersedes any title fight that you're going to get against, whether it's Michael Chandler or Justin Gaethje or Charles Oliveira. So while I wanted to see Dustin Poirier fight for the belt, this for him is the smarter move financially.
Yeah, you got to take the fight, right?
Yeah,
because you could always challenge for the title in like October of this year, like, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you could are assuming that if they did a McGregor Poirier 3, they'd probably be over the summer sometime, I would assume. But
I think July is the target date. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. So I think, and if they're going to have full arenas by then, assuming that everything goes smoothly and we don't have any setbacks with, COVID and everything.
Right.
I think I think you kind of have to do it, right? Because they haven't fought. Their first fight was 7 years ago.
It was so long ago. Both guys were, completely different fighters, and it was in a different weight class. Like, they weren't even 155 at that point. They were 145ers.
Right. And 2014, that was like right at, I guess it wasn't quite the peak of Conor McGregor, I don't think, because Conor was probably at his peak, like 2015, 2016-ish?
Not long after that. That was kind of like the ascension of Conor McGregor.
Right.
Yeah, he was kind of like on that rise.
And I think Conor knows that in their last fight, he definitely, you could tell by watching, he just didn't train for it properly and all that stuff. And he might have even admitted to, not having the best camp going into that fight. But yeah, you should take the third one, especially because I feel like there's still people out there that will make excuses for McGregor in that last fight.
Yeah.
And if you beat him another time, then you could go get the title. Like, there's nothing left for you to do after you beat McGregor a second time than to go get the title. And the title's not going anywhere. McGregor will go somewhere. Like, your shelf life of having another Conor McGregor fight, making that big purse is
right.
smaller than going and fighting for a title.
Plus, what happens if Conor goes and fights somebody else and he loses to somebody else and that star begins to dim even more? I think, he's still a massive draw right now, and you never have any idea how these things are going to go. So while, he is still the massive draw that he is, I think you have to take advantage of it. And look, I think I think a lot of people want to say Conor is done, and the fact that Dustin finished him so early in that last fight, I think that's nonsense. Conor still looked good at moments in that first round, but I think what people forget is he hadn't been in the octagon very much over the last few years at all. And it's an evolution, like everything. If you don't play in the NBA for a period of time and then you come back, the game is going to be played in a much different way, right? Like if you hadn't played in 3 years and then you played in today's NBA, like it's a different game. It's faster. There's less defense. There's more threes being shot than ever before. It's a different game. Same thing with UFC. Like the evolution of the sport, people are using different weapons. And, if you haven't fought and you haven't trained for all the different stuff that's happening in the sport right now, then, we saw it with the leg kicks against Conor. Like that, we've been seeing it trend in that direction for a while now. But Conor hasn't fought since, the calf kicks became like a big weapon for high-end fighters. So, yeah.
Yeah. The Poirier McGregor 257, second highest buy rate of any UFC pay-per-view ever. Actually, I'm looking at it. It might be any pay-per-view ever. If just any boxing, MMA, wrestling, whatever it might be. Like Mayweather Pacquiao 1, Mayweather McGregor 2, Khabib McGregor 3.
Yeah.
Mayweather Canelo 4, and then you have Poirier McGregor 2. It's like the fifth.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like the fifth total, but the second highest UFC pay-per-view buy rate.
Massive.
Yeah, there's money.
Massive. Yeah.
The dude's a superstar.
Yeah. And now there's with Francis Ngannou winning the heavyweight title, if the UFC and Jon Jones can come to some sort of agreement, which it doesn't look like it doesn't look good from that front. I think if they are able to make that fight, that potentially could be the biggest fight in UFC history.
Is it who do you think's being more? I mean, obviously they would both like to come to a deal on their own terms, obviously. But do you think it's the UFC being stubborn, or do you think it's Jon Jones being stubborn?
I think it's probably a combination. Look, Jon Jones is undefeated. He's never lost a fight, and he's stepping up in weight class from light heavyweight to heavyweight. And I think he just views himself as somebody that deserves a massive payday. I don't know what the numbers are. I think rightfully so, he deserves a massive payday. I don't know what he's asking. I don't know what the UFC's offering, so it's hard to say if they're actually lowballing him or if it's a good offer that he just feels like is a lowball. I don't know, but that fight would be off the charts. I mean, it would be one of those, how every once in a while you watch SportsCenter and they really start promoting UFC fights. It's not like something they do regularly. It's not part of their mainstream content, but every once in a while you get the Poirier McGregor fight that will kind of make its way into mainstream sports media. If Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones fight, that will be a SportsCenter headline. They will be talking about it. It will be just this massive, massive thing.
Damn. Yeah, it's a shame. Jon Jones was, Anderson Silva was the one that got me interested in the UFC and in MMA and is a reason that I would go to, Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever I would go and watch the fights. But Jon Jones is, and again, I'm not a UFC expert or anything, but I feel is the best mixed martial arts fighter ever. The fact that he went away for whatever time he did because of the off the octagon, off the court. Yeah. I don't know how you would phrase it in UFC, but outside life issues,
away from the sport. Yeah,
right. And then to come back and just come back and be as dominant as he was before is insane to me. And there's nothing he couldn't do. And the things that he would try to do in fights was just insane. Was it Shogun? Who was it that he opened up a fight with a flying knee? it doesn't take an MMA expert to know that that's an insane thing to do. Is to go for a flying knee out of the gate.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I mean, obviously he's in the twilight of his career now. I thought he lost his last fight against Dominic Reyes, but I don't know. We'll see. I think Rashad Evans made a great point this week about the negotiations, and he basically was like, John Jones has handled this thing completely wrong. He lost all the leverage that he possibly had as far as getting the big payday because he vacated the 205 belt. If he had still had possession of the 205 belt, if he hadn't gained all the heavyweight weight, then you have a little bit more bargaining power, but he vacated that title. He's already gained the weight to fight at heavyweight. So it's like, in some ways he lost the leverage to be able to get what he wants out of the situation because he's already there. Like he's on the doorstep, like, hey, I'm here. Let's do this. Instead of like, hey, you're going to have to pay me because I'm the 205 champ and I'm going to have to gain all this weight and I'm going to have to completely transform my body. I don't know. It's a fascinating situation. And if it happens, I will have a massive party. We'll set up like the projector on the back porch and just do it big because that will be an incredible event.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't look super great that his last 3 fights have gotten a decision. That he hasn't been able to finish his last 3 fights, which is not I would say that's probably not a great sign that the dude's still at his peak. But do you think that he went up? Is there any, again, I'm completely novice at this point into MMA because I've been so checked out for so long. Was it a necessary move to go up to heavyweight? Like, what's the light heavyweight division like? Because when I was watching, the light heavyweight division was by far and away the best division.
Yeah.
With, Anderson Silva, I know he fought at middleweight a lot, but he could go up to light heavy and fight, exceptionally well. Michael Bisping, Rashad Evans, like there were so many superstars at that 205, and now I just don't hear about any 205 guys. I hear about the smaller guys like Habib and Connor and Poirier. I hear about the heavyweights, but like is there money to be made at this point in the 205 division? Like, would he just roll through everybody?
Well, that's part of the problem is he kind of cleaned out the division for a long time. I mean, he was so much better than everybody that he beat everybody. So it was I would love to see him fight the current champion, Jan Blachowicz, at 205. And look, Blachowicz is an older guy. I think he's like 38 or 39. But he's also a dude that just has insane power. But yeah, it just kind of, I think, became a situation where as far as making money, there was just nothing left at 205 for John Jones to do. There was nothing left at 205, especially at the time that he vacated the belt. There was nothing left from a legacy standpoint to do. There was nothing left from a big payday to do. There just wasn't a contender at that point that said, hey, like, let's build this thing. And so I think he just looked at what helps me from a legacy standpoint. That's winning the heavyweight title, just like Cormier did. What helps me from a financial standpoint, that's fighting, whether it's Derek Lewis or Stipe or Ngannou, like fighting the heavyweight champion. Like everything just pointed to him being so dominant at 205 for such a long period of time that again, it's different now because Jan Blachowicz has proven to be a worthy champion. But at the time he vacated, I don't think anybody was making the argument that there was still a lot to accomplish for him in that weight class.
Yeah, I'm looking through his record, and like he beat he beat every name in that 205 division that I remember from watching when I was watching it intently 8-10 years ago. Like Shogun, Rampage, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Vitor Belfort, Chael Sonnen, Alexander Gustafsson, like Glover Teixeira, Daniel Cormier, which I think Teixeira, did he drop he was usually a heavyweight, right?
I think he dropped. I can't remember. That's been so long. He's actually about to fight Jan for the 205 belt next.
Heavyweight 205. Okay, there you go. DC, like, I mean, the dude rolled through any name that you could think of on there, he beat. So it's just I guess I get trying to go up because there's money to be made in another division. I think Anderson Silva did the same thing in the middleweight division and had to move up to 205 to make any money.
Clear everybody out, and then there's just not a lot of intrigue left. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Did you stay up and watch March Madness last night?
I caught some of the UCLA game. I caught most of the Gonzaga game, which we talked a little bit about Gonzaga earlier. There's not much more to say about them. UCLA, though, going from a playing game to the Final Four is that's pretty insane. Like, that is an unbelievable, like, thing to do. Like, they beat Michigan State, so it's not like I know Michigan State wasn't, like, the greatest team ever this year, obviously, because they were in a playing game, but, like, it's not like they rolled over some, mid-major school. Like, they had to beat a pretty decent program.
Yeah.
Well, probably one of the top 10 to 15 programs in college basketball in the playing game, and then get through the region. And
I mean, they had to beat Alabama and Michigan in back-to-back games.
Right.
Like, that's legitimate. Those are good basketball teams.
Yeah. Like
I had two big takeaways last night. Number one, I don't know if you saw the end of the game. It is insanely disturbing how long it takes to play the final minute of a close NCAA tournament game.
Dude,
it was brutal. Brutal.
I've had fun watching the tournament, but I know, and I think I said this last week, I know why I don't watch college basketball in the regular season. Like, as much as entertainment as I get out of the tournament, I know why I don't watch college basketball in the regular season, because the product is not, it's not fun to watch. It's so many points in the game.
Yeah.
The fact that, like you said, it takes so long to play the last 2 minutes.
Oh, it was excruciating.
Yeah.
And it was good drama. I'm not disputing that the drama when it was happening was good drama. It was just like the timeouts and the reviews, and you just have all of these elements and so many stoppages that, like, it took maybe 20 minutes. I don't even know the number, and maybe I'm exaggerating. It might have just felt like it took that long because I was tired, but it felt like it took 20 minutes to play the final 60 seconds of that game.
It probably did. I 5 to 10 years ago, I was pro. Let's review as much as we can, because let's get those calls right and make sure that the right team wins. I'm at the point now where I kind of just want, I'd be fine if all reviews in every sport went away.
Yeah.
And we just went back to how it was before. If you want, if the NFL or football, you want to review scoring plays during a commercial break, that's fine, because there's going to be a commercial break there anyway. We've been programmed to think that there's commercial breaks after touchdowns or after kickoffs or whatever. There's certain points in games we know there's going to be an extra point or a commercial break. But dude, just it's stopping to review a charge or stopping to review whatever it might be. And then I didn't watch the game. I saw Twitter blow up, but to review as much stuff as they review that I've seen in the men's tournament.
Yeah.
That Baylor Connecticut game, to not review that call at the end of the game that cost Baylor, they can't even review the right things.
Yeah.
They're reviewing. Yeah. It's insane that they review so much stuff at the NCAA refs that they don't review the things that obviously need to be reviewed.
Right. Because the rule's not written the correct way. So they're like, well, that's not reviewable. Yeah. It's so frustrating, but and last night it's the, let's take a TV timeout. Somebody calls a timeout so they can draw up an inbound play, and then they go out there and they get ready for the inbound play, and then the other team calls a timeout to adjust to, and that's after a review, and that's after a couple fouls, and it's just oh my gosh, this is so excruciating to extend it like this. Just play the final minute of this game. Let's just do it. It takes away from how good the product was, because it was a close game that had a bunch of pivotal plays in the final minute, but it just to have such long, it felt like extended breaks between every pivotal moment just kind of felt like in some ways it kind of dulled what would have been a pretty incredible sequence to close the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I don't know, man. I tweeted it out, and you can bitch about NBA refs all you want, but at least I feel for the most part, NBA officials are pretty consistent on how they call games. You have a good idea how a game's going to be called before the game starts.
Right.
The NCAA refs, it's who knows? It feels like they're just completely making it up as they go on where they want to blow their whistle and what they how they want to officiate the game. It just and it sucks because the product on the court with the way the game is played is already down.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, ad nauseum over the past couple of weeks. And then you add onto that, just the refs kind of taking over games at certain points as far as like dictating the pace. I think we talked about that too, is that it's so hard for any team to get in any kind of rhythm in college basketball at this point, because the refs just cannot stop blowing their whistles.
Yeah, we talked about that after the Oklahoma State game. It was just like a foul every other trip down the floor.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that the Final Four games are good. I'm hoping the national championship game is good, but I also am fully preparing for another situation like we had a few years ago where the game takes 3.5 hours because there's 900 free throws being shot.
I would rather it be a slugfest, and maybe the field goal percentage from both teams is like 30%, but at least there's activity. I would rather have that than everybody in foul trouble, 50 plus free throws being shot by both teams, and that type of game's absolutely garbage. Okay, so that was my first take after that game was over. I was just like, oh, this is so brutal. This final minute has taken forever. Why are we doing this? The second take, as I kind of reflected on the Final Four teams and what we have coming up on Saturday, it's Gonzaga, UCLA, and then Baylor and Houston. So we have two non-power conference schools in this Final Four. Not to mention, it's not like they're underdog stories, right? It's a number 1 seed and a number 2 seed.
Hang on. We really call the Pac-12 a power conference? At this point, we call them a power conference.
Hey, how many teams do they have in the Sweet 16? Like 5?
Yeah, all of them.
They were clearly better than everybody else.
I guess that's fair. They were arguably the best conference in the tournament. That's fair. That's fine.
I don't think I had. I'm trying to remember. I didn't have. I think USC was the only Pac-12 team I had in the Sweet 16. And then they were like the best conference in the first 2 rounds. I was like, this is brutal. But no, it's funny because I feel like we've talked about how much the sport has changed. And I feel like this Final Four matchup with Gonzaga and UCLA is the perfect irony for what the sport is, right? Like, who is UCLA as a basketball program? They have more national championships than anybody else with 11. They have the second most Final Four appearances of all time. And they are a play-in first 4 Cinderella story. UCLA is a Cinderella story. They're the most storied program in college basketball history, and they're the Cinderella story. And then on the other side, you have Gonzaga, that forever was like the entire country just filled out Gonzaga to the Sweet 16 because they were everybody's favorite Cinderella. Now, they're not a Cinderella anymore. They are the team to beat. They're undefeated. They're trying to do something that hasn't been done in our lifetime. They're the favorite. I mean, it's so amusing to me how, like, the sport I grew up watching was UCLA is one of the, the 5 best programs in college basketball. And certainly when you talk about all time, they have more championships than anybody, second most Final Fours, as I mentioned. And they're the underdog in this thing. And Gonzaga, this mid-major university that used to just be everybody's favorite upset pick, is now the team to beat. They are the gold standard of the sport.
Yeah. And look, I mean, UCLA is kind of – look, I think that this has to be like a tough year and possibly like a reevaluation of the way that these programs are building teams like Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, Michigan State. That the one and dones, like getting those top tier recruits, isn't going to translate to you winning titles because UCLA is obviously Cinderella story. Nobody expected them to go from where they were to where they're at, but they're a pretty old team. Like they've got a lot of upperclassmen that play out in that team, and I don't think it's a coincidence that this experienced team with a lot of upperclassmen made it to the Final Four and beat teams like Alabama and Michigan. They lucked out by Abilene Christian beating Texas, so they didn't have to play Texas in that second round. But still, I mean, they beat some good teams. Obviously, you have to beat good teams to get to the Final Four. So,
well, unless you're Houston,
I think there's unless you're Houston.
But like, I'm kidding. People are gonna be like, oh, they didn't beat a single digit team. All the teams they faced to the Final Four were double digit seeds. Yeah,
that's true.
That's insane.
Yeah, and they almost lost to Rutgers in the second round, which is I guess not a good look. Oregon State fought back in that game. You have to give them some credit. But Oregon, any of those, you could look at most of those Pac-12 teams. I would imagine, I don't remember their entire roster off the top of my head, but I would imagine most of those Pac-12 schools are probably, more experienced, have some more upperclassmen than teams like Duke or Kentucky do.
Yeah.
Because most, Pac-12 schools aren't drawing big recruits unless it's, Washington getting Markelle Fultz from, in a random year. But yeah, I think that this might be a good year because Duke and Kentucky are sitting at home watching these teams play. And it's tough I don't care how good those players are. It's tough to beat. It's tough to win 5 or 6 games in a row in the setting that the tournament is, with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds playing guys that have been in that tournament 3 or 4 times already.
And a bunch of guys that don't have much chemistry, right? Like we've seen some teams do this. We saw the Anthony Davis Kentucky team make their run. We saw that Duke team with Jahlil Okafor and Justice Winslow and was it Trey or Tyus Jones? I can't remember which Jones it was.
Tyus. The older one, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw that group obviously make the run. But look, like the Zion team, I think was way more talented than that Duke team, and they didn't get it done. And then you add the pandemic and not having the opportunity to develop the same chemistry that you get in most years. I think it's even more emphasized this year that teams, that had so many new faces on their roster didn't come together.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I would be curious to get into the mind of those, top recruits like the Zions and the RJ Barretts and stuff like that. And I wonder if they could how much the fact that they know that they're going to the NBA after that year plays in their head. I kind of need to stand out in this game. I want to win, but I know it's more important that I stand out in this game because I'm going to the NBA next year, and I need to if me playing well in these next 2 games and standing out is the difference from me going 9 to going to 3 or whatever and making a difference in millions of dollars out of the draft or whatever the money might be.
Right.
I'd be curious to get in their heads there too, because these UCLA teams, how many of those dudes legitimately think they're going to the NBA?
Yeah, I guess
more than a couple, yeah. But
yeah, it's a good question.
Sharif O'Neal's the biggest name they have. Does he play? I can't
I haven't seen him play. Is he? I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even know he was on the roster.
Oh no, he transferred. I'm sorry, he transferred.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I don't ever remember seeing Sharif O'Neal play for them. So
I forgot he transferred to LSU, or is transferring to LSU. Yeah, he went in the middle of the season.
Did Zion even play in the tournament? I can't remember. Because I remember he had the shoe blowout and then he didn't play for a while, but I can't remember if he played in the tournament or not.
I feel like I remember him shutting it down sometime in the middle of the conference play.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Let's see. That was 2019, right? Duke was a 1 seed, and they made it to the Elite 8 and lost to Michigan State. Let me see if
with Zion, I could, yeah.
Let me see.
I can't. I'm completely blank on whether he was in that NCAA tournament or not. The thing that stands out to me most was just that shoe blowout wearing the PGs, and then they shut him down.
He did play in the ACC tournament. He was the MVP of the ACC tournament.
Okay.
Let's see if he played. Check this box score from the Elite 8 game. See if he played. Gross. Why?
By the way, I don't know if you saw the final shot last night for Michigan, but there was 6 seconds left. The defense from UCLA was abhorrent. It was so bad. The guy catches the ball with momentum going up the floor, gets to the 3-point line, has a wide open shot. Probably, if he had maybe stutter stepped right there, probably could have got to the rim for a layup to tie the game. So bad.
Yeah, I've seen some. Zion did play in the tournament.
Okay.
He had in that Elite 8 game against Michigan State that Duke lost. He had 24 and 14.
Oh, okay.
And 3 blocks. Yeah, so he played 37 minutes.
I can't remember. I have zero memory of him in the tournament or not. So
Yeah. Let me run down this Michigan State team for you that beat them in the Elite Eight game. And I think this probably reiterates the point that we were just making a second ago about experience mattering, and, throwing these one and dones into the tournament, it doesn't usually translate to winning. Aaron Henry, Xavier Tillman, Kenny Goins, Cassius Winston, Matt McQuaid, Gabe Brown, and Nick Ward are the guys that checked in the Elite Eight game for Michigan State.
Wow. Yeah. Zero NBA players, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to, if you're going to win in the tournament, you have to have dudes that can play together. Now, maybe Gonzaga could be the exception this year. But I think that there's also an argument that the rest of the college basketball is just not, kind of down a little bit. This is a perfect year for Gonzaga to, have a great team and go undefeated.
Well, yeah, but Gonzaga has veterans.
Yeah, you're right. They do have veterans.
Yeah.
I guess I just get caught up in like Timmy's a sophomore and Suggs is a freshman. But yeah, you're right. They do have, because before Suggs, it's not like they were bringing in 5-star recruits every year.
Right. Yeah. Suggs is their first 5-star recruit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Now they might get into a cycle now where they start bringing in more 5 stars and see more one and dones there, and then we see them struggle to make it far in the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. Suggs is a freshman. Let's see, Timmy, sophomore, Andrew Nimhard, junior, Joel Ayaye, redshirt junior, Kispert is a senior. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And the perfect thing for them is, you add this 5-star point guard to a group that has already a lot of chemistry and veteran presence. And, that's why, going back to what I said at the beginning of the show, Gonzaga can beat you in so many ways, because on any given night, it can be any one of those dudes as the star. But there's so little ego on this team and so much experience that, if it's Drew Timme that's going one night, or if it's Corey Kispert that's going one night, nobody else tries to force the issue. Everybody just kind of settles into whatever role the game kind of dictates. Like that's just it's not like I watched every Gonzaga game this year, but I did have the opportunity to watch them a handful of times. And that was the thing that always stood out to me. It's, like one game I'm singing Jalen Suggs praises, and then the next game, like, he doesn't do a whole lot, but he's just kind of doing what is needed within that game because it's, it's somebody else that's rolling along. So
a little bit more stuff on UCLA. They did not make it past the quarterfinals in the Pac-12 tournament. They lost their first game they played in the Pac-12 tournament. They have not been ranked in the AP poll since the preseason poll. No, I'm sorry, they were 21 in at one point. So there was a couple weeks there and there, but not ranked 13 out of the 16 AP polls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Got on a roll, man.
And they're back.
The
disrespected Pac-12, proving us all wrong. Best conference in the country.
I mean, it's hard to argue with. They have like 4 or 5 teams in the last 16. I think they have 4 in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Although USC, I was really excited for that USC Gonzaga game. Not that I thought USC would win. I absolutely didn't think that was the case. But I did think their length and athleticism might push Gonzaga in some way. And it's crazy. Gonzaga's in the Final Four now, and I think OU probably played them better than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, OU, definitely the beginning of the game, they got out to a good start, and it really seemed like they were going to make a game of it.
Yeah.
And then,
well, even with the lead in the second half, it was one of those situations where OU was doing just enough to keep Gonzaga's starters in and keep, like, just holding that lead. Like, they were never able to really put OU away. It always just kind of felt like OU was always a basket or two from kind of swinging the momentum, maybe. Like, they seem to have answers to prevent the blowout from happening for the majority of the game, even though, again, I think in the second half, you got the lead started to grow. But yeah, Gonzaga's just really good. Before we hit baseball, because tomorrow's opening day, I have to bring this up because I'm a draft geek, an NFL draft geek. I love the process of the draft, from just the way that players are evaluated through, like, just all the different perspectives from the end of the season until the draft actually happens. I have absolutely loved the last couple weeks with all these pro days, how like literally after every pro day, like insert new player here is the best player available at his position.
Okay. I don't know where you're going with this. I'm glad you brought this up because I do want to talk about one clip, one 15-second clip from a pro day.
Okay.
Because it was I assume you saw the Zach Wilson throw that was trending.
Yeah. Where he threw against his body, rolling left.
Oh,
yeah. Sick throw.
We've gotten to a point where we've seen a lot. There's not a lot that we haven't seen a quarterback do with the football. Like between Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield and insert whoever you want, Andrew Luck, Justin Herbert. Like we've seen quarterbacks do a lot. There's not much we haven't seen.
Right.
That was insane. Like that was an absolutely absurd throw. Yeah. Like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers might be and look, we dogged on him a lot, but was it Chris Sims or was it somebody else that said
Chris Sims?
The only quarterbacks he has seen that has arm strength comparable to what Zach Wilson does, or vice versa, however you want to word it, is Zach Wilson. Like after seeing that, I'm like, you know what, he might be right. Zach Wilson might be on Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes level arm strength.
Here's the best thing. You clearly haven't seen the clip of Sam Darnold doing it in a game last season for the Jets.
That's fair.
Dude,
yeah, I do remember your top. Yeah,
this is my favorite part of this because, like, exactly what you're talking about. Zach Wilson makes that throw, and look, if anybody is discounting the ability that it was shown in that throw, like you're crazy. That is a sick throw. Like to be able to do that is insanely gifted talent from Zach Wilson. But there's also a clip of Sam Darnold in a game rolling to his left, making the exact same throw. And it's hilarious because it's like, oh my God, look at what this kid can do. And then the guy they want him to replace in New York literally did that in a game last year.
Yeah, you're right. I do remember that. I remember that throw. I want to say it was like against the Dolphins or something. I do remember it though. And to kind of play devil's advocate to me getting super excited, it is different to be in a pro day and say, I'm going to do this right now. I plan on doing this. I'm going to roll out, throw against my body to show them I can do it. And doing it in a game when you're about to get hit by, J.J. Watt and Dominican Sue or whoever. Like, it is different to doing it in a controlled environment, a pro day.
But to have that ability is still off the charts.
Yeah.
Special.
Oh, yeah. His arm, it's insane. His arm strength is insane. Yeah. And two, also, the San Francisco trading up to 3 made things super interesting.
Yeah.
I think they would be stupid not to go with Justin Fields. I know that like they kind of like Mac Jones, and Mac Jones is trying to talk himself up to go to that offense. But is there a big difference? I think Mac Jones might be better. We don't really know at this point, but I think he might be better. But is he really that different than what Jimmy G offers you in an offense?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the type of quarterback he is, yeah, I mean, he's doing a lot of the same things. He doesn't add that extra dimension that Justin Fields might or that Trey Lance might. So, yeah, it's interesting. And I talked about this with Steely on Monday. It's, speaking of irony, 5 years ago, obviously Trevor Lawrence is a special talent that, like, no matter what era you put him in, just that arm ability is he's going to be viewed the way he's viewed this year. But like, if you look at all these other guys, I mean, we're just a few years removed from Lamar Jackson getting picked with the last pick of the first round and people just being completely shocked that Lamar Jackson was a first-round pick. And, I think for a long period of time, it's just been all about, like, the guy that can stand in the pocket and read defenses and make precision throws, which is what Mac Jones is. And now we've reached this point where, like, if you're not mobile, then, Mac Jones is like, my point is 5 years ago, Mac Jones is probably the number 2 quarterback on pretty much everybody's list.
Yeah.
But the game has changed so much that he's like the 5th of the 5 projected first-round quarterbacks by nearly everybody. Simply for the mobility issue, right?
Yeah, I don't know why, and I don't know what the mindset of front offices is, but, like, I don't know why they don't have more of the mindset that we could teach this dude how to read a defense. Like, we can take this physically gifted guy and easily teach him how to read it. Like, if we're good coaches, we should be able to teach him how to read a defense. It may not be great the rookie year. Like, Lamar Jackson was not good his rookie year through the air or reading defenses. He just was running everywhere.
Yeah.
But
some people still think that's an issue for him, right?
Sure, possibly so.
Yeah.
Takes time. NFL defenses change game to game, snap to snap. Like you have to learn to adjust and read mid game. It takes time. But if I'm San Francisco, I'm looking at it this way. I could get Mac Jones, who might be a higher upside version of Jimmy Garoppolo, or I could get Justin Fields, who is Colin Kaepernick level athletic with a way higher upside through the air, in the passing game.
I think he's more athletic than Kaepernick.
Possibly, yeah. I think there's easily an argument to be made that he's more athletic. So I think they would be stupid. Why trade up? Like, there's no point in trading up to 3 to take Mac Jones.
Yeah.
You're trading up to 3 to take Justin Fields or Zach Wilson.
I'm with you. Yeah. By the way, I've watched more Trey Lance, and I can't help but like Trey Lance. Like, it's. Yeah. I don't know that I would take him over like a Justin Fields, but man, I mean, just when you watch him and think about what he could be capable of, he's a really fun prospect.
Yeah, I saw a mock draft the other day that had New England trading with Atlanta at 4 and taking Trey Lance.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could do a lot worse.
Yeah. But no, I've seen the best corner in this draft change multiple times over the last couple weeks. The best edge rusher, the best safety. Like, it's again, every time there's a pro day, it's like whoever just finished their pro day and impressed people, like, immediately is the new like favorite toy. Yeah. I get why that happens, but it might be my favorite part of the process.
I've always wondered why, like, scouts or whatever are never like, I'd like to see this guy run a 40 in pads.
Right.
Like, is it like, I don't understand why that's
never just suit this guy up and let him take off.
Yeah. Like, what? I'd rather, I want to watch him run in his underwear, see how fast he can run.
Yeah.
I don't really care how fast he can run in his pads. I don't know. It's just funny that, like, nobody's ever just been like, why don't we do this in pads?
Yeah.
You don't have to have contact, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, should be good. Miami, I love that Miami doing great stuff. Like, this makes so much sense. Are they at 6 or 12 right now? They're at 12 right now, right?
No, they're at 6. They traded out of 3. They traded out of 3 with San Francisco, moved to 12, and then they traded with Philly back to 6, and so Philly's now from 6 to 12.
Which they got more draft picks, so it makes sense. But hell, whether they were at 12, 3, or 6, Miami's going to get what they need. They're going to get a top tier receiver.
Yeah.
At 3, 6, or 12. So Miami's front office is killing it right now. Houston's front office, meanwhile, is just watching their pick go from all over the place. But yeah, so I'm getting more excited for the draft. These trades have kind of spiced things up for me a little bit. Miami at 3 was kind of just like a boring spot because there was no intrigue on what they were going to do.
Right.
Now San Francisco's up there, and like, they're a Super Bowl contender. Like, just as constructed right now, they're a contender in the NFC, and now they're at 3, about to take potentially a superstar quarterback for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and it's a no-lose situation, right? Like, if you don't get rid of Jimmy G, he's serviceable until your next guy is ready. If the other guy, doesn't give you what you like in practice, like, he's still going to have a lot of value for somebody else. Like, I love the move. And here's the other thing. It keeps my hope of Kyle Pitts being available at 10 alive, because I think Philadelphia, to me, was the biggest worry spot for Kyle Pitts, and now they're out of the top 10. So you look at Miami, and speaking of pro days, LSU had their pro day today. Jamar Chase ran a 4.3840.
Of course.
And his vertical and broad jump measured more than DK Metcalf and Julio Jones.
Of course. We're going to get to a point where some dude's going to run a 3.98 in his pro day.
I know. So I feel like Cincinnati is taking tackle, whether it's Sewell or Slater or whoever, and then you have 6 Miami taking Jamar Chase, and then you start looking at, like, Detroit doesn't feel like they're going tight end. I mean, they just took Hawkinson a couple years ago, and they have other needs. But look, so does Dallas. So maybe they do the same thing Dallas does and just say, you know what, this guy's so much better than, like, anything else that's available. We just have to take him. But
I think Carolina is scary because they need they definitely need a quarterback. But I guess it really just depends where they evaluate Mac Jones at that point, because Kyle Trask is not a first-round talent. As much as Chris Sims wants us to believe it, Kellen Mond's not a first-round talent. So,
but what if San Francisco takes Mac Jones at 3, and then you have either like Justin Fields or Trey Lance available for Carolina at that spot? They're definitely taking that guy.
Do you think there's no way that happens though? Why would Mac Jones would probably be there? Why would they move to 3? It doesn't make it, like, I can't imagine that being the scenario. It would be wild if it was. If Mac Jones ended up going 3,
that's the rumor mill, man, that they like Mac Jones.
No way, no chance. They might like Mac Jones, but Justin Fields is. You don't trade up to 3 to take Mac Jones. You trade up to 3 to take Justin Fields. Now, Trey Lance being there, I think that's interesting. I mean, that makes another interesting point, because if Atlanta keeps their 4th pick, who knows? Kyle Pitts could go to Atlanta.
He could.
If Atlanta stays in that 4th spot, then he could go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
They don't really need more weapons, but there's not a defensive guy up at the top of the draft that you could justify taking at 4. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of intrigue.
But
the draft. I mean, the draft starts at what, like 3? Or I guess 3 probably, because you know where the first 2 teams are going. New York, you don't know who they're going with, but you know it's going to be Zach Wilson or Justin Fields.
Well, after that, I don't know. There's still. I was talking to a Jets guy the other day, and I think the thought is it's going to be Zach Wilson, but. Like that, you have Sam Darnold, and it's not a guarantee that's the path they're going to take. So, I was told that, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a shock if they just said, "Hey, we're going to go get Kyle Pitts," or they added another tackle. But I think the odds favorite is a quarterback there, and it's Zach Wilson.
I think that's probably that guy just kind of hedging his bets. You have a new regime coming in. You've got a new head coach, like a whole new system. Like, it's a whole new situation in New York with the front office and the coaching staff. I cannot imagine that they're going to go in there and say, let's give Darnold another year. They're going to want their own quarterback. Like, Darnold's been there for 3 or 4 years now, and you could make an argument that we never really got a true gauge on how good he was because the rest of the team was so bad around him. And Darnold did have flashes so that he could be a good NFL quarterback, but it doesn't matter. Like, you got to get your own dude in there. And we kind of have a good idea of what Sam Darnold is and what he can be. Justin Fields could be an MVP. Yeah. Zach Wilson could be an MVP. Like, you already suck. You're already terrible. Why not go get a new quarterback and try and, start fresh? Yeah.
Well, my biggest thing is
I cannot imagine a scenario.
Even if Darnold does turn it around, like you're talking about a rookie contract quarterback versus, let's just say he does completely become a great quarterback.
At least $100 million.
Then all of a sudden, your quarterback position just multiplied by 10 as far as the financial concentration on that position. So yeah, I think I don't see how they would go anything but quarterback, but who knows? I think Kyle Pitts, if you ask me, if you have the number 1 pick in this draft and everybody had empty rosters, the number 1 pick is Trevor Lawrence. But for me, the number 2 pick is Kyle Pitts.
I'd say I would agree. He's probably the second best player of the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just from a talent perspective of his potential. But, but come on, Chris Herndon. We've been waiting for 3 years for Chris Herndon to do something. I think this is the year. He's finally going to break out.
I don't even
know. You don't need a tight end.
I don't even know who that is.
I only know him because he's on the sleepers list for fantasy football every year. He's a Jets tight end every year. Everybody's like, okay, Chris Herndon's gonna have a good year this year. He's gonna break out, and then he ends up with 4 catches for 18 yards. It's happened for 3 years in a row.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard that name. So
probably for a reason, because
yeah. All right, tomorrow is opening day, Aaron. Major League Baseball has arrived. This is where probably some people listening to this are like, click. I know baseball's not for everybody, and that's totally fine. I get it. It's not for everybody, but Aaron and I are both big baseball fans. And last year the opening day kind of felt weird, when they finally got things going.
It's in July.
Yeah, but even with that, it just kind of, I don't know. It was always just, there's something about opening day and the pageantry of it, I guess, that was missing last year, that it kind of feels like at least we're getting back this time around.
Yeah, it just, especially with Major League Baseball, didn't handle COVID very well last year either. So, like, yeah, opening day last year when it happened in, I guess it was July, it just felt very, like, wrong. I don't know. It just felt like they shouldn't be playing. It didn't feel like they were doing the right, like the NBA had the bubble, they figured it out, and then baseball was just like, we're going to travel. Teams are just going to travel. I mean, we're going to play regionally, but they're still going to go to airports. They're going to fly.
The Cardinals didn't play for like a month or something, right? Like they played like a series or something, and then they didn't play again for like a month.
The Marlins made the playoffs and played like 10 less games than all the other teams.
Yeah.
And that was another thing too. That bugged the hell out of me. Adding the playoff teams last year was annoying to me. But anyways, yeah, it just didn't feel like, it felt wrong. I don't know. I didn't feel like I should be watching baseball at that point.
Yeah.
And then I think we're to a point where like this season could be a little bit more normal. Obviously, some teams are not going to have any fans. Some are. Apparently, the Rangers are potentially going to go to max capacity.
Well, they are maxing it out for opening day, and then, or at least
after that,
the last report I read was that they were going to max capacity for opening day, and then they were going to limit after that. Yeah, which
I don't understand the point. Like what? Is it that important that you sell out on opening day? Which, are they even gonna sell out on opening day?
Oh, they'll sell out. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I forget that most people haven't been to that stadium unless you were like one of the few people that had playoff tickets last year.
Right.
Which I'm gonna have to make it down for a game because that doesn't play well on TV. I'm curious how it looks in person.
Well, I think the inside of it looks amazing. It's
the outside looks like a Home Depot.
Yes, it's the overhead like blimp view from above where it's like, is that just a giant warehouse or what the hell is that?
It's sort of like a tin building.
But the inside looks fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited though. I think Houston has not. They're either doing restricted or no fans to open the season. I would imagine they're probably doing restricted, like limited tickets. But yeah, I'm excited. There's the one thing I can say about baseball that makes it fun is I know the Dodgers have kind of been overkill lately as far as like dominating, but like it's kind of hard to predict how seasons are going to go in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a little bit more parity and like unknown going into the season and how it plays out because the season's so long. There's injuries, all this stuff. Rookies play a huge part in baseball, and guys that you don't know if they're even going to play in the majors. There's so many aspects to making baseball fun. But yeah, I'm excited. Back to a 162 game season. I'm going to try and I made it a goal to get back into like a routine of watching a game a night or a game every other night like I used to. Just I'm excited, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, for as dominant, I guess, as the Dodgers have been, they've only won one World Series. So, I mean, they've been there a lot, but
right. There's been years that they were stacked. Yeah, there's been years that they were stacked and lost in the division round. There's been years they were stacked and made it to the World Series and lost. Obviously, they won last year, but they played Tampa Bay. Going into the season, Tampa Bay had a good team, but who the hell expected them to make it to the World Series?
Yeah. Yesterday, I was talking to Eric G, and he has the Rays back in the World Series, and I'm like, their rotation is completely different this year. I mean, that was a big part of their success, but I mean, you just never know. Like I didn't have them. Nobody knew who Randy Arozarena was at this time a year ago. And look, I think he was a St. Louis Cardinal at this time a year ago.
He was. Yeah. He was.
And then like he sets all these postseason records and has like the greatest individual postseason that we've ever seen in baseball history. So, it's a very interesting sport from that perspective. But look, I think like the entire NL East, I think is really interesting. The Braves and the Mets both have, obviously just loaded lineups. You look at the Padres and the Dodgers, like in the same division, those two teams are both completely stacked. I love the White Sox young roster. The Yankees obviously are just loaded from top to bottom. I think the
Red Sox suck, which is weird.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, who knows? Like we're just talking about, baseball's so unpredictable. The Red Sox who win 95 games. Like there's just teams like dudes just have random years. Like there's so many MLB players you could go through and just be like, they were amazing for 1 year and then just kind of just never got it back or whatever. Yeah, like a Rosarina could easily come out in the first month and hit 10 home runs and bat 350, or he could hit 210.
Right.
Like baseball's just pretty unpredictable about performances. Now you get guys like Mike Trout who've done it long enough, but like young guys, it's kind of harder to predict. But
remember when Yasiel Puig for like 2 or 3 months was like the best player in baseball when he first like hit the scene, and
and now he's even on if he's on a roster now, he's like their 4th outfielder.
Last I saw, he was a free agent. If he signed somewhere, I missed that news. But yeah,
that's the last I saw as well.
Yeah.
So there are things that I hate about baseball. As far as like their CBA and the way that they handle, like I think that the service time thing is completely messed up, and I think it sucks that like if you become a good player when you're 29 or 30, you're never gonna get paid. You're never gonna get a big contract unless a team just does you a solid and throws some money at you.
Right.
But it does on the counter allow for a little bit more parity because teams that don't have money like the Yankees, like the Rays, are able to keep these good players for, and extend their window to like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, like, you see the, like, Bryce Harper contract and the contracts that are given out to those guys, and it's like, go play baseball. Everybody's making money. But, I mean, the service time is obviously an issue. And look, like Ronald Acuna a couple years ago, like, he could have either waited for 7 years and then got like that Bryce Harper contract, or I think he ended up taking a deal where he got like $90 million over the course of, I don't even remember the years, but like you look at it and it's certainly not his worth. At the same time, they didn't have to give that to him. They could have just, waited him out and let him play until he was actually due. So yeah, it's kind of a tricky thing where the timing has to be so right to maximize on that, that free agent signing after your service time is up.
Yeah. I mean, and like, I think that, I don't know if this is a thing, but I think a lot of people might think that minor league players get paid more than they do. Like there's a lot of dudes playing in double and triple A that are making like $60,000 a year, which is good. Like I would kill to make $60,000 a year, but just relative to what dudes in, major leagues are making out on their first free agent contract. And then not to mention you play in the minors for 6 years, and then you go to the majors and you have to play for 6 years before you get a free agent contract.
Yeah.
That's 12 years of playing professional baseball before you are even eligible to be a free agent.
Yeah. Well, it's why all the top prospects start seasons in the minor leagues, right? Like,
yeah, you manipulate the time. Like, yeah, you get an extra year out of them. Like it's common play. Like the Cubs did it with Chris Bryant. The Nationals did it with Bryce Harper. Like it's just common procedure at this point that you don't call a guy up until it's like at least the 3rd week of April.
Yeah, like the fact that the Padres, I remember like them throwing Tatis right into it was a shocker to everybody.
Yeah.
100%. And then obviously he got the massive contract because he's been so good. But yeah,
that contract was like 14 for 400 or something like that.
Something's crazy. Yeah,
I don't know where the Padres like. The Padres have done this thing over the past like 15 years where they randomly just get like $1 billion to spend, and then they'll be like, we don't have any money. We're gonna have to trade everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, we have $1 billion again. Here's Matt Kemp. Here's $500 million.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been to San Diego? Everything's expensive, man. Everything's expensive. Yeah. I love it. It's like maybe my favorite place in the United States, but
I've never been. I mean. I'd play if I'm Fernando Tatis and I have a chance to just ensure that I'm going to be in San Diego for 15 years. I'd probably take that deal.
Yeah.
I probably need $400 million to, buy a nice house in San Diego.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited though. I agree with you. I like the White Sox. They seem like I think Eloy Jimenez is another guy that just started the opening day roster and they didn't manipulate his service time. But yeah, I like them. Tony La Russa being a manager is weird. I don't know if it's just weird because he's like 95 years old and hasn't managed in 10 years, or the fact that he went to Chicago, the White Sox. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I like them. Like you said, the Yankees and Rays are good. I like Toronto. I think if Toronto's pitching can step up this year, their offense should be loaded. adding George Springer to the middle of the lineup, who somehow most people, unless you're like really into baseball, kind of just slept on George Springer being the best player on Houston for the past 2 years.
Agreed.
By
far the most consistent.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably argue George Springer is one of the 10 best hitters in playoff history.
Absolutely.
Just built for the playoffs. So if they can make a run, they're good. I think Cleveland's still going to be good. I think that losing Lindor obviously is going to hurt, but I think their pitching is still really good. I think that Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes, they still have a good lineup. Cleveland, so I'm there on Cleveland still. Minnesota's going to be good. The AL West, I think, is going to suck. I think the AL West is going to be a pretty tough watch this year. Texas might be the worst team in baseball outside of Detroit and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're not good at all.
Yeah, Oakland's tough to call. Oakland's usually just they find a way to be good. Seattle's going to suck. The Angels, it kind of just feels like we always anticipate this being their year, and then their pitching's terrible.
Yeah, they're always great on paper, and then like baseball actually happens, and it's like, oh, the Angels are terrible. And then the opposite for the A's, right? Like on paper, you're always like, ugh, the A's, and then they just put it together every year.
Find a way to get some random dude hit 210, batting third in their lineup, but they still win 90 games.
Yeah. What you don't see is he hits like 780 in every like game-winning opportunity. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Their pitching keeps it like a one-run game, and then for whatever reason, in the eighth inning, that dude just rakes.
Yeah, the A's every year they're good.
Best uniforms, and I'll say they have the best. Their home whites might be the best uniforms in sports.
They're really good, man. They are really good. Back in the Ricky Henderson days, when Ricky had the high socks with the stirrups, I mean that was the look, dude.
And like they've just committed to wearing white cleats, and like that. When I was a kid, I thought that was the coolest thing that like they wore white cleats. Like no other teams were like, oh, that's our thing. So yeah, their home uniforms are freaking. They're pretty solid. So
top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white shoes, the yellow, the Ricky Henderson look, the yellow socks and the green stirrups, so good.
It's tough to beat, but I feel bad for him though. They play in a dump, but I'm
It's a dump on the show too. Have you played the show?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
even in the show they tarp off the top deck.
Yeah, I hate playing in Oakland on the show. It's like, oh, I gotta go play in this ballpark. It sucks.
They're like, even in the video game, they're like, we can't sell out this stadium. Gotta tarp it off.
Yeah, I played a season with the Rangers, and I just hated, I hated playing. I don't know why. I just hated playing in Seattle. I hated playing in Oakland. Where else did I hate? Detroit and Minnesota.
Oh, Detroit sucks.
And Baltimore. And there were just so many places in the AL that I didn't like playing that I ended up creating a team. I created the Oklahoma City 89ers with the old 89ers logo because you can upload the old logos.
Uh-huh.
So I uploaded the old OKC 89ers minor league logo, and I replaced the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I got their roster and obviously rebranded. And so that way, playing in the NL West, you get to play at the Dodgers, which is a great stadium. You get to play at San Diego. You get to go to what is AT&T? Is AT&T in San Francisco still?
I think they changed the name last year.
Okay, wherever San Francisco is, and then Colorado. That is the best division to play away games in outside of Arizona, which I'm not a big dome guy, so I like all those open air stadiums in the NL West other than Arizona. So I replaced Arizona and got their schedule, and it was a lot of games in those ballparks.
It's Oracle Park now. I guess Oracle's just buying everything in San Francisco. I have a funny story about the Diamondbacks. So I went to a game in Arizona a few years ago. A few buddies of mine and myself, we were road tripping to Los Angeles, and I was like, we're gonna drive right through Phoenix. The Diamondbacks have a game at 6. We should just stop and go to the game.
Yeah.
Because we're going to drive through Phoenix. How often are we just in Phoenix? Let's just go to a game. We were there for like 2.5 innings. And I just jokingly was like, because Arizona had gotten the bases loaded. And I was like, all right, if this dude hits a grand slam, we have to leave. And then like the next pitch, he hits a grand slam. And then I was like, all right, we got it. And then we just left. Because like everybody around us was like, bye.
And you left?
We said we would. And there was like 20 people around us like, oh, you got to leave now. You said you would leave. You said you would do it. So we left.
That's the most insane story I've ever heard.
Now, if we would have been staying the night in Phoenix or something like that, it might have been different.
Yeah.
But like we were just going to continue driving to LA through the night. So
Gotcha.
It probably was a little bit easier to just walk out knowing that we still had to drive 10 hours. But
yeah,
we couldn't stay there after I loudly expressed to everybody in our section that if they had a grand slam right there, we were leaving.
I imagine the place wasn't full. You probably could have relocated sections.
That definitely was not full. I am being generous by saying that our section, because it was like 30 rows. It was 20 people, but I was like, all right.
But also, if it was like Diamondbacks Pirates, I probably don't blame you because I
don't even remember who they were playing. If that tells you anything, it might have been the Rockies for all. Excuse me. Have you ever been to a game there?
I haven't.
It's not great. I can see why they're trying to get a new stadium. It 20 years ago, I could see how that stadium would be impressive, but now it's just very, I don't know. It doesn't have any like charm to it. It doesn't feel like anything. It just kind of feels like you're just in a building with some like metal beams that they play baseball in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about that division is you have Oracle's great because you have the bay over the right field wall. Obviously, Dodger Stadium with the mountains in the background. San Diego is fantastic.
You got the shipping, the metal supply company.
Yeah, the metal supply company. Colorado, the thin air. It's like you have that's the best division for stadiums, and then there's Arizona's dome.
Yeah, it hasn't aged well. That's for sure.
You're right. It just doesn't have any charm to it. It's just
but it's not impossible because Houston built their stadium just a couple of years after, like Minute Maid opened, or I guess Enron at the time opened 2 years after Arizona Stadium does. And I think Houston has one. I mean, if you're talking about just like charm and like having like a unique feel, Houston's one of the most unique stadiums in the league.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, Arizona just kind of...
Is Arizona the one that has the hot tub, like, in right field?
Yeah, they have the pool, the swimming pool in right field, which I guess is interesting, but I don't know. That's just, it kind of loses, like, it's unique. Like, it's just not that unique, I guess. It's just a swimming pool. Like, San Francisco has an ocean over the right field wall.
Yeah, with all the kayaks, waiting for home run balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. You're right. It's just, it doesn't have any charm to it, really. So... do you have any World Series picks? Are you ready to go out on that limb, or have you even thought about it?
No, I'll throw out a prediction. I mean, we just went on a 10-minute tangent about the Arizona Diamondback Stadium. So let's give people are totally tuned in.
By the way, I don't think it's terrible. It just I think
it's not interesting. It's kind of just nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's
just like Oakland's is so bad that you talk about it.
Right. Arizona's is just there. Whatever. Yeah, they just play baseball in it. Yeah.
World Series wise, let's see. I feel like one of these years the Yankees are finally going to get to the World Series with the roster that they have.
Yeah.
Because they're adding Garrett Cole last year was obviously like a major addition. He's one of the best pitchers in the Major League Baseball. Their lineup is stacked and young. And I think they've been up in the league for long enough that they should be experienced enough to get through the playoffs. I don't think that Minnesota or Chicago have the pitching for me to say that they can get through the play. I mean, Minnesota hasn't won a playoff game in 15 years?
Yeah, I don't even know.
So to think that they're going to make it to the World Series is tough for me.
Yeah.
Houston, I think Houston's going to be there, but they're pitching such a question. I'm going to go New York out of the American League.
Okay.
I hate that pick, but they've got to get there eventually. They're like the Dodgers. Like their team's so good that eventually they're going to break through that glass ceiling and get to the World Series. And out of the National League, I'm going to go Braves.
All right, Braves.
First World Series. That is a World Series that I do not want to see. I could not think of a worse World Series matchup for me than Braves Yankees, but I just don't want to pick the Dodgers. I think the Padres, I don't think they're quite there yet. Their roster's stacked, obviously, but I don't know. I need to see that they can win before I put a bunch of stock into them. And then the Central's terrible. I don't think any team out of the Central is going to make it. Yeah, I'd say Mets or Braves.
Okay.
I'll go Braves just because they haven't been in a while. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. And the champion is New York?
I guess. Gross. I want to change. I'm changing my mind. I'm going Blue Jays. I'm going Blue Jays and Brewers. I need something.
That's way more fun. That's way more fun. Yeah.
Let's go Blue Jays Brewers.
I am. Obviously, I'm a Rangers fan, but I think just from a fun standpoint, my fingers are probably crossed for like a Blue Jays, White Sox, ALCS, and a Dodgers Padres in LCS, and like whatever shakes out from that four, I'm okay with.
Here's what I'm hoping for. I don't want this to happen. I want everything to go back to normal. I want the pandemic I want to go back to normal life, but I'm hoping for a scenario where Canada doesn't open up the border until like November, and we get a Blue Jays World Series playing at their minor league stadium in Florida.
That would be awesome. You would hope for that.
It's just, could you imagine a World Series game at a minor league stadium?
Right. They have like Radio Row in the parking lot. Yeah. It'd be amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Major League Baseball. It's like, you know what?
Yeah, we're just
gonna play every game at the NL Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, they would definitely do that. There's no way they would let that fly. By the way, before I let you run, this just hit my timeline. Kyle Pitts at 6'6", 245 pounds, just ran a 4.4 flat.
Dude's fast, man.
Remains number one on my Dallas Cowboy big board.
He's a freak, man. He's gonna be good. You could probably pencil him in for Rookie of the Year if he plays 16 games. Actually, they're playing 17 now.
Yeah, 17.
Forget that they extended it to 17. But if he's healthy, I would just pencil him in for Rookie of the Year because I cannot see a scenario where he doesn't have like at least 800 yards.
Yeah. I don't care what the Cowboys' needs are. If he's there at 10, Kyle Pitts is the pick. Period.
So you got 6 more rounds to take needs.
Right, exactly.
Use the first round to get a high floor potential Hall of Fame player.
Yeah. Yeah, amen. Amen to that. Kyle Pitts, number 10, Dallas Cowboys. I love it. All right, buddy. Enjoy opening day tomorrow, and we'll talk about a draft a little bit later in the week, but always fun, buddy.
All right, yeah, good stuff. See you later.
That is Aaron Davis on the Colby Daniels podcast, which is presented by Artisan Botanicals in Midwest City. Check out their line of natural medicine products, including Kratom, CBD, and Delta 8. When you order online, abotanicalcompany.com, use the discount code ColbyShow, and you save 15% off your online order. Plus, if you have any questions about these products or their benefits, don't hesitate to give Artisan Botanicals a call, 405-458-9699. They have a staff that's dedicated to helping you live a better life. So again, don't hesitate to ask questions, 405-458-9699, and save 15% when you order online, abotanicalcompany.com, discount code ColbyShow. Everybody have a great day, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
The podcast is over.